Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 20th. The topic I wanted to discuss this week, today, is meditation. So the reason why meditation is a topic that I chose is because this weekend, me and two of my friends, my best friends, who, when I say best friend, I really should say family. She is closer than that. I consider her family, to be quite honest. And then my very close friend also joined me. We went to watch Jay Shetty on tour at Madison Square Garden. So the tickets we got were actually the VIP meditation and Q&A package. So we were contemplating getting the meet and greet, but we settled on the meditation and Q&A package. So just to kind of backtrack a little bit, this weekend was a very intense weekend, this past weekend. So Friday, I celebrated my daughter's 13th birthday. She's my middle child. She's my first daughter, because my first child is my son. And then I have a 7-year-old daughter. So she had a 13th birthday. She had not had a birthday celebration with friends since she was 7. So 6 years ago was when she had her last birthday party celebration with friends. Part of it is because of COVID, and the other part is we've just been extremely busy, to be quite honest. She always has a family celebration, but not a friend celebration. This friend celebration was at her favorite restaurant, which was Kiku, and she invited 38 friends, or actually I think it was originally like 44, 45, something like that, but then we got RSVP of 38 that were gonna go, and then it ended up being 36, on top of her chaperones, which was me, her 2 aunts, and my niece, her cousin. So anyway, the reason I mentioned that is because I was so overwhelmed. It was a lot. I didn't expect it to be a lot because it was a dinner, but she asked my sister-in-law, who is her godmother, to assist with the decorations and all that stuff, because she's very good at that, and she knows her taste, and they have similar tastes, so she would know what to do. So she asked her to help, and she did help. She did a fantastic job. It was just a lot. And my daughter had an amazing time. Her friends had an amazing time. So did we. I was just stressed out, because I just wanted to make sure everything went smoothly, everything went well, the girls ate well, everyone was safe, taken care of, etc. But anyway, so the reason I mentioned that is because I felt that after that, I really needed to meditate. So I was very excited that we had this show with Jay Shetty. And to be honest, I was very excited about it. So were my friends. And to backtrack a little bit about the show, or how, I decided when I saw that he was going on tour, immediately I mentioned it to several friends, and I said, hey, Jay Shetty's going on tour and I want to go. Like, he's going to be in New York City. I definitely want to go. And some friends said, maybe, or some said, oh, I would love to go, but I can't, because, they had things going on, etc. But before the tickets went on sale or anything, that's when I had mentioned it. When the tickets went on sale, I first asked my husband, who said, no, thank you. You go. Then I asked my son, who also said, no, thank you. And then I went on and asked my best friend, and she immediately said yes. I even said to her, invite your husband, maybe he would come. And she said, I don't even have to ask. I know what his answer is going to be. Which she said would be no. So it came down to her and I said, you know what, I'm just going to keep it at that. I did mention it to one of my cousins, another friend of mine that we work out. I mentioned it to my sister-in-laws, but no one was able to make it. My best friend, like I said, she immediately said yes. So I knew I was looking for 2 tickets for her and I. Then I casually mentioned it to my other friend, and immediately she asked, are there any more tickets available? I happen to not have purchased the tickets yet. So I said, yeah, I'll include you, when I'm searching for the tickets. Anyway, fast forward, we agreed, we got the tickets, great. Because it was meditation Q&A, we had to arrive earlier. So we were planning on having dinner before and then arriving, but due to the fact that we had to be there even earlier than we thought, we weren't able to have dinner before. We arrived, we made it on time, it was great. We went in, and as I was saying, we were all very excited leading up to it. I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to get overly excited because I don't want to kind of hype it up and then be disappointed, or it not be what I expected, or honestly, I didn't even know what to expect. So anyway, we arrive, we go in, we sit down, we go in first for the meditation part, Q&A. So we each write a question on a card, and then they collect it while we're sitting right before he comes out. I guess they filter through them because I would say it was a good amount. I would say between 60 and 100 people there, I would say, for that meditation Q&A. So to think that he would answer all those questions is obviously unreasonable. So they filter through the questions to have him answer just a few, which I believe he answered about 6 questions. So the index card said anonymous, or you could write your name. I wrote my name, and my best friend wrote her name, and then my very good friend made it anonymous. The first question that was selected was my best friend's question. And you had the option of standing up and reading your own question, or they could read your question. As soon as they said her name, we all our mouths opened, and immediately I'm like, get up. And I recorded it. I recorded her asking the question. I recorded his answer to the question. But I felt like that set the tone to the event. I was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be very powerful. And surely it was. Then another question was selected. And then I believe it was a third question. My other very good friend's question was selected, but she was anonymous. And she didn't have to stand up for it, but he answered it, and it was great. And then a few more questions. So I believe it was a total of 6 questions that he answered, but it was great. Then we went into the meditation part. So he led us in the meditation, which was very powerful also. My eyes watered up as my eyes were closed, and we went into the meditation, and to be quite honest, it was very, very powerful. I guess I didn't expect a meditation with, in a room with so many people would touch me so much, but it did. And then it ended, and we went outside. We had to wait till, the show started. So we ate something there because they wouldn't let us leave. If they said if we left, we couldn't come back in, etc. So we ate stuff that we did not want to eat. Nachos, hot dogs, pretzel, but whatever, we ate. Fast forward, we go into the actual show. So he started the show, and initially I was like, oh, this sounds like his podcast, because it's funny, because my husband said, why would I go watch him do what he does on his podcast? Why would I go do that? And in my mind, I'm like, we're not going to watch, he's going to be live. It's a tour. Of course, I love his podcast, and I would love to watch him. Anyway, so it started, and I'm like, oh, wow, my husband was right. It is his podcast. And there were many things that he said that were very powerful. And one of my friends She's listened to bits and pieces of his podcast, but I don't think she's listened to as many as I have, because I went back to 2019 and have listened from 2019. I'm actually on September 30th, which is with Shawn Mendes right now, of 2024. So I'm catching up. I'm almost there. And he said a few, I guess, phrases or insights that he says in the podcast, and I could hear my best friends say like, oh wow, like it really touched her. And to me, I'm like, oh, I've heard this before, but it is very powerful because it had touched me when I listened to it before. But then he fast forward, he actually went into the audience, and he asked certain people questions, and then he actually did pick one audience member to go on stage, and it was very powerful. I could feel the power that and how it impacted this specific person. So I did love that part. Then he had a guest who I didn't know her, Julia Fox, I hope I'm not messing it up, is her name. And I didn't know her. And I remember commenting it to another friend of mine. And she immediately said, oh, she dated Kanye West. And I was like, I don't know. And then like as I saw her bio or her info, then I'm like, oh, okay, yes, I do recall her dating him. But Jay Shetty interviewed her on stage in front of the whole audience, and it was great. It was very powerful. It was more emotional than I anticipated, and I learned a lot about her, and I really enjoyed it. I will say there were a lot of things I was able to connect with her, not in the sense that it was exactly what I felt or what I experienced, but definitely some emotions that she expressed, and even some ideas she had, and she was very funny too. So I really enjoyed the interview. Now and then he spoke a little bit after, but now I'm gonna jump to the end where he did another meditation, which initially I looked at my friends and I said, is he doing the meditation that we did already? Like, we got VIP tickets to do a meditation. I didn't expect for him to do a meditation at the end, but he did. So I thought he was going to do the same exact meditation, but he did not. This meditation at the end, and I will actually close with this because I don't want to make this super long, but this meditation at the end was so powerful that I continue to talk about it, and I do want to mention it here. So, they like dimmed the lights a little bit, they put some soft music on, and he began to speak and guide us through the meditation. So during this meditation, he asked us two questions. The first question was, and I mean, he had us like, hold your hands like you would hold the hands of someone that you love. So I did that, and, remain holding your hands, throughout the meditation, and, okay, continue. Then he said, I want you to think in your mind and envision. And again, I'm not saying word for word how he said it, but this is the gist of it. Think of the worst day of your life. Like, go back to that day, be in it, think about it. How did you feel? Who was there? Where were you? And he was like guiding us through that. And I was like, wow, let me think of the worst day of my life. And the worst day of my life that came to mind immediately was the day I lost my grandmother. So I went back to that day, and then he said, think of a word that you felt, an emotion. Think of that word that you felt on that day, on the worst day of your life. And the word I thought of was lost. I felt lost. So then he said, okay, now, and he gave us some guidance throughout. And then he said, now think of the best day of your life. Think of the best day that you've experienced, where you were, who you were with, what you were doing. And immediately I started thinking it should be the day I got married. And it wasn't. I thought it should be the day I gave birth to my children. It wasn't. And I started feeling guilty, like, oh my God, what was the best day of my life? Was it when I graduated high school, college? It wasn't. Was it when I got my dream job? Was it when I made the most money? And it wasn't. It was none of those things that I can actually honestly say was the best day of my life. And then I dug deep, and it came to me. I've thought about this before, but I guess I've never thought about it as being the best day of my life. But I thought of how I felt on that day many, many times. I always refer back to this. And it was in August of 2022 that I was at a festival in Rosarito, Mexico. And it was me and my husband, and we were in the middle of the festival. And I remember I felt like this outer body experience. I felt like my spirit came out of my body, and I was looking down at my body, and I just thought, this is happiness. I am so happy and fulfilled, and I'm like on cloud 9. I just felt pure bliss. And he even said, think of a word of this best day. And I'm like, what word could I? And I was like, it's pure bliss. The word is bliss. That's how I felt. And then I thought, during all this, and he's speaking, he's guiding us through it, I even thought, there's more than one day that I feel was the best day of my life. But it was associated with the same thing. The next day was a few weeks back that I was at a concert with my son, and it was a Kendrick Lamar and Zaza concert, which my son wanted me to join him at. And it wasn't that I felt that feeling again. I feel like it was one of the best days of my life as well, but because I saw my son felt what I felt at that concert, at that festival. I thought and I felt, wow, my son is in pure bliss right now, because the way he was acting, what he was saying, I said, I am so blessed. I am so grateful that I get to experience this day with him. And I remember texting my husband, and I said, oh my God, this moment is priceless. What I am living right now, it is priceless. It is the best day of my life, because I can feel him feeling what I felt. So I can relate. I can understand. And he would, till this day, he's still thanking me, Mom, thank you. That was the best day of my life. And I could see it in his eyes. I can see it in his body. I can feel it. I felt it in him. So, and my daughters too, I've taken them to concerts, and I have some videos of my younger daughter sitting on a chair and just in that also. And my other daughter, I felt that too with her. And with my middle daughter, I felt it, because with my younger daughter, I felt it at the Pitbull concert that we took her, which was the first concert she ever went to. And she was so in it and into it, and she was in that bliss. And my younger daughter, so my middle daughter, I've seen her experience that best day of her life when she was performing on stage, performing a play, singing and dancing. When she does her competitions, I would see her in that state of pure bliss. So I left there so emotional. And there, when I thought of the worst day of my life, the tears rolled down my eyes. The first time during the first meditation, my eyes watered up. And then when I opened my eyes, a tear came down, and, I cleaned my eyes. But during this last meditation, the tears were rolling down my eyes when I envisioned the worst day of my life, which was when I lost my grandma. And they even kept rolling down when I thought of the best day of my life. So it was very emotional. And I spoke to my other 2 friends about it. And I spoke to my husband and my mom and everyone I've been speaking to about it, my kids. And I said to my husband, I said, it's funny that as I thought of it, it wasn't a moment where it was life-changing, a life-changing event for my personal life. It wasn't a moment, it was when my grandmother passed away. For the happiest day of my life is what I'm referring to. It wasn't a moment where I got all this money, or anything like that. It was a moment of a true feeling, a true emotion. And I was so thankful that this was brought to light and that this came out, because it makes you really realize what is valuable in life. And and it's priceless, you know, living these moments and these emotions with the people you love, and then watching them feel it and live it as well. So I'm gonna end it here because I don't want to go super long, but I did want to share that. And I have been asking, I didn't ask my kids, but I did ask my husband. I said, what was the worst day and what was the best day? And it was a little sad because my husband said there's so many days that were the worst days of my life, but then he was so quick to answer which was the best day of his life. And I don't want to share it here because that's personal to him, but I just thought, wow, like it's very significant. And one of my friends shared that her worst and her best day was the same day. I found that so interesting also. And my other friend shared her worst days is something that's like ongoing. So I don't want to share what it was because it's personal to them, but I just wanted to share a little bit about it. And I want you to leave you all with that thought. Think of the worst day of your life, and then think of the best day of your life. And, you know, think of a word. And, you know, mine was lost and bliss. And he did guide us into like letting go of the worst day of our lives, like breathe and breathe out and let it go, like release it. And then when he was like bringing us back, he did use the word lost, which I was like, oh my God, like how impactful is that my word was lost for the worst day of my life. And then he was using it as he was guiding us towards the end of the meditation. So yes, Jay Shetty, you're amazing. My husband, or my son actually goes, I know what you thought. You probably thought the best day of my life is today, right now at this Jay Shetty show, but it was one of my favorite days ever, but it wasn't my best day, the best day of my life. But thank you so much for that. It was so impactful, so powerful, and I will hold it with me for the rest of my life and actually utilize it and share it with as many people as I can. So I will leave you all with this, and I hope you all have a very productive day and a great one. All right, take care. Talk to you next time. Bye.